computer simulation, the deepest intrigue doesn't lie in what happens, but in why it happens and what it means.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
At the heart of this story are questions like, what's real? Do we actually want the truth? And can human beings be free? Such abstract inquiries become tangible, personal, urgent. As Neo progresses from nihilism to enlightenment.
And when she said, can human beings be free? What she means is free in the mind. That's what that's what the Matrix is about. It's freeing your mind from the programming of society. And there's so many programs that you need to be aware of that society puts on you for its own benefit. I mean, for the benefit of the program, which is running the program, which is, us, the working class, working like a slave, reproducing, the women reproducing, all this stuff. These are programs that society tells you for the benefit of the program. It's not for the benefit of you, it's for the benefit of the program. So that's what she's talking about.
And becomes the one, the only person with the potential to free human beings from their machine overlords. This tightly structured hero's journey is the philosopher's journey.
There is no spoon.
Packaged as a gripping, action-packed Hollywood flick. 20 years later, here's our take on the deep meaning of the Matrix and why it's a guide to freeing your mind.
Absolutely.
Which can help us uncode the modern Matrix of our times.
Free your mind.
Fair use,
This
by the
video
way.
is brought to you by Mubi, a curated streaming service showing exceptional films from around the globe. It's like your own personal film festival streaming anytime, anywhere.
For your
The first
mind.
Matrix movie has an age-old message. The truth shall set you free.
It was he who freed the first of us. Taught us the truth.
Let's take a look at Neo's steps on the road to freeing the mind. On closer inspection, we can identify 7 major phases: dreaming, destruction, reconstruction, self-knowledge, doubt, belief, and love. Step 1. Dreaming of the question.
Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream?
Neo's quest for truth begins in his dreams. When we first meet him, he's asleep, while his computer runs a search for a mysterious figure.
Now, when they say he's asleep, is literally in the movie, but it's also figuratively, because asleep means unconscious of he knows something is wrong, he knows something isn't right, but he's not quite sure. He's unconscious. That means you're asleep. When you're not conscious that you're in the Matrix, you are asleep. When you're not conscious that it's more going on than this reality that we live in, that means you're asleep. That's what that means when they say he was asleep. I was asleep. I did the same thing Neo did. In 2003, I came home one day from work and I remember asking God, I remember just thinking, is this all that life is? You go to work, come home, have some babies, take care of them, and go to work and die? That's what I asked God, because I felt in my soul, in my spirit, it had to be something more than this. So like Neo, I asked the question, just like Neo. And
Figure named Morpheus, fittingly named after the Greek god of dreams. Someone in Neo's computer, who we later learn is Trinity, tells him to wake up.
Yep.
Neo's not quite ready to do this yet, and the 2 sequences following this lead back to him waking up in...
I want y'all to notice the clock. The clock, because one of the first things that started happening to me when God started to try to wake me up, when God started calling me or tapping me like they're doing Neo, that's what happens. I started seeing numbers on a clock. A lot of you probably have seen numbers on a clock, different numbers, repeating numbers. Have you seen repeating numbers on different numbers on clocks?
I see them every day, all day, even to this day. Like 222, 333, 444, it in all kind of different variations. Some people may see 123, but if it stands out to you, then God's talking to you.
Yeah, that's when you see numbers on a clock, when you see numbers on receipts, repeating numbers, you'll see them on car tags, receipts, clocks. That's the universe trying to get your attention to let you know, hey, I'm talking to you. I'm trying to let you know it's more, I'm here. It's more going on than your everyday life. That's the universe trying to get your attention to wake you up. So that's one of the first things you'll start seeing is repeating numbers. Like I started seeing constantly 1221, 1221, 1221 on everything, on receipts, on to the point where it would just jump out at me. And I'm like, what is this about? This is when God first started to try to wake me up. But 1221 is my birthday. That's why God used that number, because God understood that I would relate that to my birthday. And if God started showing it to me over and over again, then I would know that, wait a minute, it's something to this. So that's one of the first steps of waking up. So I'm glad they used that reference in the movie, because a lot of you will see numbers or are seeing numbers, and that's what that means. God is trying to wake you up from your sleep, wake you up from my consciousness. That's what that means.
In bed, unsure if he's just had some strange nightmare. Neo complains of an inability to tell waking life from dreaming.
You ever have that feeling where you're not sure if you're awake or still dreaming?
And when he finally meets the god of dreams himself, Morpheus speaks to Neo's feeling of surreality.
You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees because he is expecting to wake up. Ironically, this is not far from the truth.
The twist is that it's Neo's so-called real life up until now that's been the dream world.
You've been living in the dream world, Neo.
Neo's mentor, Morpheus.
And the dream world that Morpheus tells Neo he's living in is what all of us are living in until we wake up to the realization that it's almost like a simulation, or like Vanita say, a movie or a video game. You come here into this earthly plane, this dimension that we're in, to grow and evolve, but you're not from here. That's what it means when I think in the Bible it says you're not of the world, you're in the world but not of it. That's what that means. This isn't real, not literally real. We come here for a purpose of evolving and growing. It's almost like a spiritual school, but it's not really a school, if you will, because you already know the information. Like we're gonna go through Neo. Neo was the one, like we're all the one, but he forgot he was. So he went through all these things to remember. That's what that means. So I wouldn't say it's a school, but it is a school.
Represents intuition and faith in the unseen forces of the world, in direct opposition to the machine projections that use the eyes and rational arguments to enslave. His ship is called
the Nebuchadnezzar,
a nod to an ancient Babylonian king who, in the biblical book Daniel, gave the wise men of his kingdom the impossible task of not just interpreting his dream, but also telling him what the dream was. So, the Matrix tells us that trusting our intuition and dreams is the beginning of the path toward truth and mind freeing.
And a lot of people dream. I have a dream gift. I know a lot of people who dream and who've seen things in their dreams, who've seen things that have yet to happen, who have, seen people who have passed on. You've communicated with them in your dream, because in our dream state, when we're unconscious, the soul can travel to different dimensions. It can travel to the future, it can travel to the past, and it can travel to other dimensions. That's why sometimes when you wake up, you think to yourself, God, that seems so real, because your soul traveled to another dimension and brought back, or the future or the past, and brought back remnants of what it did, which we call that dreams. We call that the dream state. That's why it's important to pay attention to your dreams. There's a lot of information, particularly, depending on how intuitive you are, that happens in your dream state.
You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life.
This mysterious inner compass points us in the right direction before our rational minds can catch up.
Such shaping fantasies that apprehend more than cool reason ever comprehends.
Neo's intuition and dreams lead him to form a...
You've met people, a lot of you have met people in your life, and something about them seems so like you just know them already, that you've met them
Familiar
before.
or
Familiar, like you already know them. You know, they feel like you met them before, although you haven't. You have. You just probably met them
in
in a
another
different
lifetime.
in a different lifetime. Your soul recognizes their soul. That's why it's important to pay attention to these things. But no one really teaches us this. Particularly not a lot of religion. You know, this is something that for me, you know, God started showing me when God started waking me up.
Question. Interestingly, we gather that Trinity and the others began their journeys with the same question.
You know the question, just as I did.
What is the Matrix?
So, what starts all these rebels to be on the path to freedom is a growing awareness of this invisible thing that surrounds them, the Matrix.
That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind.
The Matrix?
The ability to sense the Matrix, even though nothing about it can be perceived by the senses,
A prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch.
might remind us of the story about the fish who don't know they're surrounded by water.
How's the water? And the two young fish swim on for a bit, and then eventually one of them looks over at the other and goes, "What the hell is water?"
To have the initial capacity to free your mind, you have to question the obvious, what's right in front of your eye.
And that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. I asked, I was like, is this just, what is the purpose of all of this that we're doing? I didn't get it. I said, God, it has to be a reason for this. This is just, I felt a sense of I would say void, but like unfulfillment. And I knew just doing the status quo stuff, going to work, taking care of some kids, you know, just going to church. For me, I felt like that wasn't enough. It wasn't going to be fulfilling for me. So I was just like, is this all life is gonna be, God? It's just this? And again, I asked the question, and that's how God started to answer back. I asked the question first, as a lot of people who've been on this journey.
The point of the fish story is merely that the most obvious, important realities are often the ones that are hardest to see and talk about.
You think that's air you're breathing now?
The next phase of Neo's enlightenment is destructive truth.
It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
Shattering the illusions that blind and enslave us.
You are a slave, Neo.
What's untrue must die. This phase begins with the choice Morpheus offers Neo to remain in his comfortable pre-enlightened state.
The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe.
Or to wake up.
You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
And waking up is waking up to the notion that this is not real. Waking up to the notion that you've been programmed. Almost everything you do is a program given to you by the Matrix. All of it. Yeah. She said, Sparrow said, I see 111 a lot. Exactly. Repeating numbers.